Opening the regular city council meeting for the city of San Clemente of June 20th, 2023. First issue here is closed session. Do we have any comments?
We have two speakers for closed session item B, Ruth Martin and Amanda.
Hello, concerned citizen.
Actually, since you've plastered my identity all over your website, I might as well say that this is Ruth Martin. Thank you. 2 weeks ago, on June 6, 2023, our Mayor Pro Tem stated, quote, "The people of San Gorgonio suffered for years with this noise. We gave remedy to the other park. These people have suffered long enough." Why does this never want to work?
San Gorgonio suffered for years with this noise. We gave remedy to the other park. These people suffered long enough. I think this is an appropriate. I can't see short. If anything,
So it turns out that 1,863 days is the acceptable time limit for suffering by this city. According to the internet, suffering is a state of being in great trouble. It can be caused by an external and usually temporary cause of great physical or mental strain and stress. On November 7th, 2023, it will be 1,863 days of mental stress, strain, which has caused serious and permanent health conditions. I have supplied for eyes only and discussion some medical documentation for your consideration, which our attorney and city manager have been privy to. The city's blatant disregard of state and city codes, as well as its irrefutable to remedy it, is the cause of tonight's significant exposure to litigation. Every resident has a right to the peaceful enjoyment of their home. Nowhere does it say that only applies as long as pickleball has a city park to play in. Although it seems, Mayor Duncan, you feel otherwise, I understand that. There's no question that the city has inflicted suffering and harm. In 2016, our prior city attorney was the lead attorney for the city of Newport Beach. In that case, Thomas versus City of Newport Beach settled because of violating Civil Code 3480, and I believe that applies here. So now the question remains, do you want to right a wrong, or do you want to subject the city to more litigation? Thank you very much.
Amanda?
Thank you.
Hello, City Council members and staff, City Attorney. I'm concerned regarding, again, I think I've spoken this to you before, regarding the how item B, that they attach this lawsuit. It's not even a lawsuit. Actually, it came as a document to the City Council members, and it wasn't even filed. It wasn't even put through the court system at all. But it's apparently it's as an attachment. So you could click the blue area, and then it brings you up to that lawsuit, and hopefully that other things that come up on this closed session discussion can have a tab. So then it's easily available to everybody, so it won't be like it's retaliatory in nature. 2 weeks ago, I was informed by a couple residents that there was a lot of concerns regarding the pickleball tournament. And they were parked on Calle del Cerro, Aguila, and people parked at Lobel Elementary School. There was a fire hydrant there. The gentleman was backing into that area, and that red curb, well, there wasn't a curb. And it's my understanding that there is no obligation for the city to paint that red, and it should be. But when I asked the person at the at the fitness area, she had mentioned to me that, parking, you could park at San Clemente High School, and then there's a shuttle to go up. And I said, well, people are parking, by fire hydrants at Lobo Elementary, and she goes, oh, but, the mayor's here. And I said, well, it's not, okay, that doesn't give you, it's like, that doesn't say much. No offense to you, Mayor, but as far as it doesn't give you immunity to park right in front of a fire hydrant, then that shouldn't be the case. And what she did was, she said, well, she started talking about Jesus and reached into my car and touched me on my shoulder, which she should never have reached into my car at all to do that. And my concern is that, people should not, basically, if you're going to have these big events, you should have this planned way ahead of time regarding Lobo, San Clemente High School, or if they're parking at the outlets, have those shuttles and have that available for people, and have proper notification for people to say, okay, this is where the pickleball tournament is located. This is where you can park. Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
No additional
Comments?
speakers.
Okay, do we have a motion?
A motion to go into closed session?
Second?
Motion is Cabral, second is Noblock. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous.
there, right?
Hello, everybody. Chris Duncan here, Mayor of San Clemente. We're opening the regular business meeting for the City of San Clemente for our regular City Council meeting of June 20th, 2023. Calling the meeting to order here, and we're going to start off with the invocation. That's Stacy Tartani, Mission Director of the Shoreline Church. Shoreline, great. Please stand and take part if you would like to.
All right, thank you. God, we come before you and thank you for the good gift that San Clemente is. It is a beautiful place, and we recognize it as a gift from you. We pray your continued blessing over it, Lord. We pray that it would be a place of continued peace, a place of safety, a place that honors you, and a place where its people thrive. God, we thank you for these servant leaders that are among us, Lord, carrying things forward. And we ask just for your direction as they make decisions over agenda items tonight, that there would be just a spirit of working together, and that it would be honoring to you. And we pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Stacy. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Turn towards the flag, place your right hand over your heart, and begin after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Taking roll call, and we'll just note all 5 council members are present. We don't have any special presentations today, but I'd like to defer here to council member, what's your name again? Leffler? Karen's husband, Councilmember Karen's husband, to honor the late, great Sheriff Alice Chandler, who you may have heard passed away. He was the first female sheriff for Orange County. And Councilmember Leffler has a few words to say about her as we're going to open the meeting in her honor.
Yes, I was lucky enough to meet Ms. Chandler about 20 years ago, and she was quite a woman here. Ms. Chandler moved to Peters Lake area of Irvine and was raised on the family ranch. In 1949, at the age of 21, Ms. Chandler was recruited by the then Sheriff James Musick to become Orange County's first female deputy sheriff. Ms. Chandler was provided a badge and an ID card, but had to provide her own gun and her own horse. Deputy Chandler patrolled the Peters Lake area for 2 years, enforcing trespass and poaching laws. Upon leaving the OCSD, Alice continued ranching, breeding livestock, a movie extra, a pilot, and actually served time as a missionary in Africa. Ms. Chandler resided in Leisure World in Laguna Hills before recently moving to Corona, California, where she passed away on June 10th at the age of 94. Ms. Chandler was certainly one of a kind and a pioneer in law enforcement, and I'll tell you, she was one heck of a lady. If they ever want to make a movie about somebody, Alice would be one that they should certainly look at. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. And moving on to oral communications, but before we get to that, do we have any motions on, as far as the agenda?
Yeah, I'd like to move item 10I up to the beginning, actually till now, since we have people here to speak on the security issue.
I'll second.
You'd like to have 10I heard now before oral communications? I have after, right?
After oral communication, before consent calendar.
So we'll move 10I to right after item number 6, before item number 7, the consent calendar. All in favor? Aye. It's unanimous. That's to help folks who are here for that the private security agenda item. And with that, we will start with oral communications.
Okay.
How many comments do we have about?
Just 3 cards
Okay.
for oral communications. Concerned resident,
8 o'clock, Steve.
followed by Donna Vadreen, followed by Christopher Butler.
The agenda posted for for tonight states from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., there is a closed session, which includes a conference with legal counsel regarding 2 existing lawsuits and a conference with legal counsel for 1 anticipated lawsuit. The record needs to reflect that our city mayor, Mr. Duncan, chose to pursue a media photo op interview instead of doing our city's business, as I believe he's the parliamentarian even during closed session, but I could be wrong. A fellow councilman left the closed session to attempt to get our mayor to resume his duties in closed session. He was ignored. Our city attorney left the closed session to attempt to get our mayor to resume his duties in the closed session. She was ignored. If the mayor feels his media ops are to take priority over the city's litigation, it's time to replace him as our mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna Vadrine, followed by Christopher Butler.
Mayor Duncan and council members, the last time I was at this podium, Mayor Duncan asked me what are the pressing issues that are important to address besides public safety and homelessness, city issues in San Clemente. My answer tonight is public health and update the city's climate action plan. In 2020, there was a hospital subcommittee with Chris Duncan and Jean James as council members. Chris, a lawyer, and Jean, a person with expertise in security services. A survey of San Clemente residents was conducted to determine resident, taxpayers, and voters' concerns over health care to include emergency services and hospital care in San Clemente. Over the recommendations of the Planning Commission, the council voted to allow Memorial Care to build luxury senior apartments and an urgent care on the only San Clemente property identified and zoned for hospital and emergency room services. The hospital subcommittee continued until the 2022 council election, but no report or discernible work has been done to address public health in San Clemente, to include emergency services, mental health services, or health care for our senior population requiring hospitalization, or treatment for those seeking professional services for drug and alcohol addiction. Since the election of 2022, the hospital subcommittee changed to Health Services Subcommittee with Mayor Duncan and Jean James as members. What work has been done? What reportable action has been taken to address public health, emergency services, and healthcare needs for San Clemente? I ask this council to continue a health services subcommittee with healthcare expertise to assess and make recommendations to council addressing the public health needs and concerns of San Clemente residents, to include possible healthcare districting to bring emergency care and mental health care to our city. A second ask is for this council to update and take action to bring our city's climate action plan current with the climate problems we are facing, to include coastal erosion, clean and renewable energy choice, recycling of excess food and green waste, conservation of natural resources, and continuing to plant trees in our city with funding designated in the city budget. The Climate Action Plan identifies city sources of greenhouse emissions and contains goals and policies for the reduction of emissions over time. Thank you for your time and attention tonight.
Thank you.
Christopher Butler.
Just to note, that last comment touched on an item that is on the agenda. The oral communications is specifically for things that are not otherwise on the agenda. Just want to remind everyone of that. And this is 3 minutes and our chance to listen and hear you out, so we don't typically respond to comments made. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Christopher Butler. I'm the Secretary of the North Beach Community Association. I just wanted to bring an item up about our beaches right now. I don't know if you guys just saw the news, but Doheny and Capistrano Beach just started their new sand efforts. They have new sand coming in. Unfortunately, we missed that because we didn't get our permits for that. I know we're looking for a czar, but I think in a couple meetings, some people have discussed, is there a possibility we can do something in the interim or take a more proactive approach while we're looking for somebody like a lobbyist or a consultant? I mean, it's a necessary position. We also have some other problems, Orange County Transit Authority has dumped some riprap without the authorization. I'm sure you know about that. We just need somebody to have a little bit more of a presence, even in the interim until we get somebody full-time. There are opportunities to get more sand. I think we could be doing something a little bit more than what we're doing right now. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No further comments for oral communications?
All right.
So we can move to item 10I, contract award for security services.
We're going to, okay. I thought we were going to do it after 6.
Before the consent calendar.
Right before the consent calendar. So, yeah. Any motions to waive reading in full of resolutions and ordinances?
So moved.
Motion is Noblock, second is Enmeyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone want to agendize items requiring immediate action? Hearing none, we'll move on. Closed session report from the city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The City Council met in closed session on the 2 items of existing litigation with Foothill Eastern Transportation Corridor Agency as listed on the agenda. There was direction given, no reportable action. The council also met in closed session on the 1 item of anticipated litigation with Ruth Martin. There was direction given and no reportable action. Thank you.
Thank you. And staff communications?
Nothing, Mayor.
No staff communications. Okay, so we're on to 10I.
Okay, contract award security services.
Mayor and Council,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mayor and Council, consistent with the direction of the City Council at your budget meeting, we have prepared Resolution Number 2362, which would allow the city manager to execute a contract with Allied Universal to provide private security services to the city. The hours that have been identified is that we would have 4 officers in pairs of 2 for 12-hour shifts for each pair. We have not, of course, advertised what those hours would be. They would be flexible, they would meet the needs of the city. And so unless there's further questions, I know this is an item that the City Council has reviewed several times. So if there's no specific questions for the staff, I think we're ready to go.
Any
Mr.
questions?
Mayor, I would just note that there is
blue
a
folder.
blue folder item of the draft contract for the council to approve, both at the dais and in the back for the public to review.
Okay, for the public, copies of the proposed contract are in the back of the room if you haven't seen that and you have interest. Any questions for staff before we get to public comments? Seeing none. Go ahead.
I do a couple of real quick questions. Mr. City Manager, on the Exhibit A to the draft contract, on the staffing of this potential contract, it mentions 2 two-man teams per day. It mentions the North Beach and the Pier Bowl. Nothing is in the Pier Bowl for schedule of coverage. Do you envision controlling those hours independently from this contract in terms of, but not exceeding the number of hours that are authorized?
That's correct, both hours and locations. There may also be, again, as this is a very fluid and dynamic situation, so as things move, they may move up the T-zone, for example. Absolutely, those areas may change. They may need to be modified as we move forward, but the hours will be used, the hours you see there will be used for the entire area.
So when you say Pier Bowl parking lot, that extends to the area around it, not necessarily to just the lot, but not next to it. So it's a fluid, it can be in the general area as well.
That is correct. That is correct, yes.
Last question I have is, the staff report mentions an overtime potential rate. Do you envision any overtime in these hours?
I do not. There may come a time where the city council maybe wants some extra patrol, for instance, a large event, 4th of July, something like that. We'll certainly look at that, but I don't anticipate that happening at this point.
Okay, my last question would be, in terms of the time, the council previously budgeted a 6-month time frame with a 2 two-man crews, 24 hours a day. I guess my question deals with the time. This contract says 1 year, we authorize six months, but I guess you could get around that by not contracting for the entire year, but just for a 6-month time frame. And that's sort of a question, and my backup question to that would be, do you have any problem, rather than authorizing a 6-month contract, authorizing this specific work on a monthly basis as the need arises? We're entering the 4th of July and then summer and so forth. Rather than having one fixed time frame, I'm thinking maybe every month or perhaps every 2 months, you direct the hours that are needed to make sure you don't exceed the scope of what the council's approved. Is that something that's you envision doing?
Yes, that's a very good question. I've had that opportunity to talk with the contractor. He said that would be possible. And they are here tonight in case you have any questions for them as well. One thing I should point out is that this contract can be terminated within 30 days as well. So even if the council wants to go a different direction or hire more or less, we could either change this contract, terminate this contract, enter into a new one. It does give us a lot of flexibility. So that is correct. And they are here if you want any specific
During the
questions.
subcommittee discussion with Victor and I, there was some concern about the time frame in which the security agencies can begin their work. Are you confident that Allied, and I guess we could ask them directly, they can start work immediately? Is that a possibility?
There is a possibility that they could start very quickly because they are a very large firm with a lot of employees, and they thought they might be able to get down here and get things started right away. That's correct.
Thank you. No other questions.
Yeah, did you get a response to the question about the 1 year? Because we did 6 months, but you have to do a contract by 1 year? Is that the reason that term is?
So the reason that they wanted to include it as a one-year contract is they really have two different kinds of contracts. One is a temporary contract, and one is an annual contract. We want the services that are provided through an annual contract, but we wanted the flexibility to be able to terminate that contract after 6 months, because that's all that the city council provided funding for. So in a lot of ways, we hope we got the best of both worlds. We got the flexibility and the services of an annual contract, but we're able to terminate that within 30 days if necessary.
Okay. Any other questions?
I do have a question. I just wanted to note that I received a letter today from the San Clemente Chamber of Commerce supporting the council's decision to
Just Mike.
invest in community public safety
Oh,
needs.
your microphone's not on. But also, let's bring that up when we get into discussion, because
do that.
we're still into staff questions, then we're going to hear from the public. So, any other questions of staff, city manager, or otherwise? Does anyone have any questions for Allied? Not right now. Okay, let's hear the public comments.
First speaker is Tad with Allied Security. Second speaker is Daryl McFan, and then followed by Ken Pajazik.
Council. My name is Tad, excuse me, my name is Tad Garabedian. I'm a representative of Allied Universal Security Services. First and foremost, I'd like to say that on behalf of Allied Universal, it would be an honor to serve the great city of San Clemente. But I also want to say I am a resident, longtime resident of San Clemente. So you actually have somebody here that has a very vested interest in this contract to make sure that it is successful and that it serves the needs of all the stakeholders, not only the city, but the citizens of San Clemente, the visitors of San Clemente, and also a partnership with the Orange County Sheriff's Department. I heard some grumblings that at some point they thought that this was going to kind of take away from law enforcement, but that's actually farthest from the truth. We actually are a complement to law enforcement. We partner with law enforcement. We're a force multiplier for law enforcement, and we actually already have a very, very, very good working relationship with the Orange County Sheriff's Department. We serve with them hand in hand at John Wayne Airport. We also serve with them at Orange County Probation Department. So we're very, very comfortable working with them. We've got a lot of experience working with them, and we would intend to partner with them down here as we do in the other contracts that we serve for the County of Orange. So that's about it that I would like to say. There were a lot of questions, and I was listening. I'm happy to answer any questions. I would like to, I wanted to just present, we have Hunter, who's a security officer of ours, who just got off a shift, but he is wearing a proposed uniform.
Could you have Hunter step up? Just
Oh, yeah, Hunter, you want to come over here so the council can see? So this would be kind of what we would call a hard uniform. We've been wearing long sleeves in the summertime. He's wearing black and black because that was what they required him to wear on his last shift. But we could wear, on the shirt, we could go light blue, we could go white, we can go gray. We have a catalog that you can choose from. So we can take that offline, but Hunter is a security officer by day, and he was telling me he kind of enjoys being a model at night, so we we recruited him to come and model for you. But that's a proposed uniform for our security patrols. So thank you, Hunter. You're dismissed. And with that, again, I just want to say it would be an honor to serve the city of San Clemente, and I can answer any questions that you might have regarding Allied or the proposed contract.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Questions?
We're not going to do questions now because we're in the middle of the comments, right? Are we?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Finish the
So we'll
comments.
finish the
We'll
comments.
finish the comments.
Finish the comments. We'll bring you back up, Tad, if we have any questions.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Daryl McFan, followed by Ken.
Good evening, Mayor Chris Duncan and the esteemed council members. This is something that I really am, first of all, let me say what a fantastic building this is for our sheriffs, for you guys, for our city hall. It's just beautiful. So you weren't throwing money away at just, trying to make chandeliers. Second of all, on a temporary basis, I can't see any logical reason why we wouldn't at least see how this works. Because if it worked well, what an investment. This building was an investment. Having our city feel even more protected or safe, it just seems like it's a no-brainer to me to do it on a temporary basis, because I can't understand the logic of not doing it, especially if it's been budgeted to have a short term. I would be happy to see 2 months' worth and see if everybody was just ecstatic about having somebody else, without replacing our sheriffs. We can't, and we don't want to. They're fantastic. But we can do some light stuff that just allows the citizens to feel that you guys are considering their safety and their feelings completely. If you're mining for gold, you pan it. If you don't have anything, you didn't lose anything. If you pan it and there's gold in there, it's wonderful. I just don't see how, if we pan that and find out that Allied is a fantastic addition, so much better. And look at this, I still have a green light, and I'm going to go ahead and step back now.
So, all right, appreciate that, sir. Thank you.
Ken?
All right, let me get this fixed up. Ken Pochecki. I know that name's always a challenge, but thank you for having me tonight. Appreciate it. This has been going on since, I guess, March 16th for me, so I'm not sure what else I can say about security. We've had literally dozens of people from North Beach up here and have told you all their stories, so I really don't have any more stories to sell. I would just say that rule breakers are still routinely visiting our casino at North Beach. You guys get emails from Linda, who owns the casino. They're doing all kinds of things that I don't even want to talk about right now. There's a group that continues to smoke cigarettes, marijuana in the no smoking areas in our beach parking lot. They're blocking parking spaces, they're blocking handicap entrances, and they continue to do that. And then on the lighter side, fireworks are routine at North Beach at night. Trust me on that, it scares the hell out of me, but I was a kid too, so. But it's happening. I was looking for an article I found on the Office of Justice Programs website called Proactive Policing and how it reduces crime by using prevention strategies.
That's how I see Allied Security working. In the article, they explain that place-based policing or hotspot policing has proven to work to reduce crime. You all can read it. I think Captain Christian could probably support that. Basically, we want that proactive policing in North Beach and around our community. I know we're a small part of the community, but I know Delmar could use it, T Street, the pier. There's all kinds of opportunities for what they're calling proactive place-based policing. And as a rule, it definitely reduces crime. You can read about it, there's statistics on it. A security presence will help with that. It will deter criminal behavior proactively, as the security will walk the beat. And I know I say walk the beat and people laugh, but walking the beat is what we need. We don't need people driving around in cars. We also need them too, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. But they're reactive, and they react when you call them. But we need people walking around. We need them to be seen with these security outfits. We need people to know that we're serious about public safety and security. And I think if we take that approach, we will see that there's a proactive deterrent to crime by doing that. So I would ask you all to please vote for security tonight, allowing our city to continue down a path of public safety, and give us a shot at some proactive policing that I think can really help to deter crime and to satisfy the community's public safety needs. So, thank you.
Amanda Q, followed by Christopher Butler, followed by Yvette Sahakian.
There have been several North Beach residents and business owners who have spoken about concerns regarding crimes at the North Beach area. Many people have submitted emails with photos, videos for years now, for over 5 years. And in the North Beach area, Delmar, the Pier, T Street area, and I think, you know, when this first came about, people wanted, you know, immediate action at North Beach, just exactly the same as the residents around Maxburg Park following the stabbing and the shooting there. And so just like the immediate action that they received in Talega for the burglaries from the South American gangs, or South American people. It's great to hear from Allied Universal that they already have an established relationship or partnership with OCSD. This is a collaborative effort to provide safety in our area, and it's really great that they could create a presence for a deterrent and to promote safety. And I hope that you all can vote unanimously for private security. Thank you very much.
Christopher Butler, followed by Yvette Sahakian, followed by Lawrence Luke.
Hi, Chris Butler again, North Beach Community Association. I think the main point is our businesses and resident members were already under the impression that this was a done deal. There's a lot of frustration and concern that this isn't moving forward already. We've been back to the table a couple times. The sentiment has been heard about, especially from Councilman Noblock, about the need to have personnel that have a little bit of citation capability or bite. But, looking at the timeframes for that, we're still a long ways out from getting that. And we have had historical problems with getting people hired. So we need to try new things. To the same vein as our beaches and our sands, we have to try new things, and it's okay to fail. We do have a great city manager, and we need to stop micromanaging our city staff. We need to let them trust their contracts, and if they feel like they can get out of something in 30 days and it's not working, then let them do that. But our patrons and our citizens have already said they want this. Please, let's get this going. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yvette, followed by Lawrence Luke, followed by Allison Lusk Mavezin.
Hi, good evening. My name is Yvette Sahakian. I own a candy store on Del Mar called Rocket Fizz. I live in downtown San Clemente. I'm in the process of opening another restaurant on North Beach at the Miramar Food Hall, which is happening, by the way. I know people doubt it, but it's happening. As a mom, as a resident, as a business owner in this town, I think that it's important, very, very important for you guys all to please vote in favor of security. I personally, the last few months, I have an 8-month-old baby. I have a 3-year-old daughter here with me today. I don't feel safe walking my baby in a stroller down North Beach anymore. I don't feel safe being at the Pier Bowl after dark. And we moved here because of the safety to raise a family. My store was robbed last Thursday night during business hours. 4 people, grown adults, came into my store, distracted my employee, went into the back and stole the safe. That was bolted to the ground. We now have a hole in the ground from where the safe was. For that reason alone, like, I am afraid to go to the store now at nighttime with my daughter, who usually goes with me. I know that you guys are not offering to have this patrol down Del Mar, but I think if we do have more security that's visible, that's a start. I don't have the answer to everything, but I know that doing nothing is not the answer. So again, like I said, as a mom, as a business owner, as a resident, I urge you to please vote in favor of security. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lawrence Luke. I'm a San Clemente resident for the last 25 years. I'm here to support the budget item that I believe all but one of you passed. Could be wrong on that, but I think I'm right. For the use of temporary private security company. The topic has lingered far too long and needs to be passed tonight and implemented ASAP. I'm not sure why this thing keeps getting footballed around, but I think it's time that you pass it. The various delays and retractions from the original discussion, I think back in March, of this request most likely contributed to the national embarrassment we experienced when the Marines were attacked and beaten. If we had security that day, that might not have happened. Public support for this has been extremely high, and your jobs are to represent the citizens and not yourself, but us. I look forward to hearing what your long-term solution is going to be and provide our safety and environment, a safe environment for us. But in the meantime, you need to pass this short-term resolution and budget item that you've already passed and provide safety to all of us San Clemente residents. There shouldn't be any reason why it's not unanimous that you pass this, that you've already passed for the budget, and that you can cancel with a 30-day notice. You're all on notice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Allison Lusk Modvazen, followed by Jill Watson, followed by Concerned Citizen.
Hi there, Mr. Mayor, council members. Rick, it's good to see you in that seat. My name is Allison Lusk Modvazen. My husband Chip and I have been homeowners here in San Clemente for nearly 40 years. We are so proud of our beautiful city and all we've accomplished in this time. We've seen tremendous growth and change over the years, and we've loved it. The Hermosa off-ramp, all the new restaurants, new shopping, and all the fun and convenience that followed. But in the last few years, there's something else happening here, an explosion of crime and violence right here on our beaches, in our homes, on our streets, with beatings and robberies. I have a grandchild that I watch a few days a week, and I won't take him downtown anymore because it's too unpredictable. And truthfully, Mr. Mayor and council members, it's kind of gross down there lately. With the feces on the sidewalks and people who spit and yell at you as you walk by, I'm sorry, but it's not fun anymore. So we won't take our grandchild to the beach in downtown right now like we used to take our own kids, and it's a shame. And I feel really bad for our wonderful business owners here in town. The growth of our city has accomplished does not mean that we should accept rampant crime as a companion to growth. I think council should vote unanimously yes on hiring private security for the trial period. We need to find what works. If our streets aren't safe, visitors who vacation here and come to play in San Clemente will stop coming, and our own tax-paying residents will find elsewhere to play, shop, and dine as well. On a positive note, I'm really glad you guys made the curfew earlier at the beaches. That was great. And as a last little side note, I hope you've all had an opportunity to watch Todd Spitzer's and Kevin McCarthy's press conference the other day. on the Chilean organized crime ring here in Orange County. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend it. And thank you so much for the opportunity to speak, and I really appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you.
Jill Watson, followed by Concerned Citizen, followed by Shelley Moore.
Good evening, council. My name's Jill Watson. I've been here about 40 years, and I've seen a lot change too. And I echo everything that Daryl said and this gentleman said, and pretty much what everyone's saying. So, I didn't know the owner of the candy store was going to be here tonight, but this is what I wrote down. The candy store on Del Mar was robbed last week. The motorcycle shop in South San Clemente is moving to Mission Viejo because of all the riffraff down by where their business is. Crime's out of control, kids are out of control, more homeless are coming in every day. That equals crime. Drugs are being sold to our kids, a lot of them from our homeless, at North Beach, all of those drugs coming up from Mexico. You know, we don't have perfect little children here. And so, unfortunately, they're getting sold drugs, and that's not a good thing. People can't walk the beach trail. Marines are getting beaten at the Pier Bowl by a bunch of out-of-control kids. As far as oh, let's see, what else? I feel like our city is turning into San Francisco. People are being robbed, they're moving, businesses are moving out of town, everything I just mentioned, crime's out of control. Yes, we're San Clemente, but San Francisco started somewhere, and it is a disaster. And it's because it's been run by liberals and people that are not on top of things, and I think we have got to get on top of this. What more is it going to take? We've lost so much time, like the other gentleman said. This is like the fourth time I've been up here to talk about this issue, and it keeps getting pushed and pushed. I mean, like everyone says, we voted for all of you. You're here to listen to what the citizens say, not just what you feel. You are elected by the people for the people, and I think you need to. I haven't seen anybody come up to this podium since I've been coming for the last 4 or 5 months saying, no, I don't think we need security, we're good. So listen to what's being said at this podium. I love our sheriffs, I do, but he did, the chief said it's going to take a while, and until we can get up and running, and I think at the last meeting, someone said also, we are understaffed even with sheriffs for our population. Someone was going to try to find out where we should be with that, and I should kind of look into it. But we don't have enough sheriffs, even adding the ones we're going to add. So I ask you to please vote for this security tonight.
Concerned Citizen, followed by Shelley Moore, followed by Joe Janis.
Hello, Councilman. I'm here, I echo their thoughts, but I'm bringing up something I have not heard addressed, and I would love to see it as part of your long-term safety of San Clemente plan. I've not heard anything about the number one problem, the exceeding drug, which is child trafficking. And we've seen issues here in San Clemente. I've not heard how is Ally going to address that? Are we being trained? Are all of our city officials aware? Are they taking steps to put in place? We know that often we're seeing not just our top leaders have been involved in these types of things. So it causes us to pause and go, all right, who are you really representing? Who are you protecting? What is being done about child trafficking? And I was considering, like, we say that crime's down in San Clemente, or is it just that those who are walking out of Ralph's with $1,000 worth of goods is not being arrested? The people on bikes, the homeless, no one's being arrested, or they're being released. So is that what you're counting as your metric for safety I don't know. So it's clear that it's not as good as you verbalize, and what we're seeing, that we're here physically to hold you accountable to that, and to ask you, what are you going to do about it? How are you measuring it? And also, as this step, how are you going to address child trafficking? We have Sound of Freedom coming out July 4th in the theaters, not here in San Clemente, but I'm not sure if the outlet, that's going to be addressing the $34 billion child trafficking industry. And don't think it's not here. It's being chauffeured around through Uber. So we welcome your support in protecting our children. I really empathize with the mother who's scared to death having, taking her young, beautiful children around this town where people are allowed to walk in and just rob from you. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing that yes vote tonight for the private security, and thank you for putting it on the budget so that we can take these steps forward. And thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
I know one of the issues people have said is the cost of this program. Right now, we have another agenda on tonight. We're going to spend over $66,000 for 3 years to clean up the streets of Del Mar. How much do we spend in total cleaning up things that could hopefully be cleared up with this private security? We're cleaning up sidewalks, benches, picnic tables, bathrooms, the beaches. If we even save a fraction of that money, what we spend cleaning up from the homeless, from what's going on, we would save money doing this in the long run. I mean, this is just common sense. That's about it.
Thank you.
Joe Janis, followed by, I believe it's Tom Garrett.
Hey, Council. Before I get into this, I want to thank all you guys for coming here and doing this for us. I was here for 2 hours last week, and I'm back again, and I can't stand it. So you guys make decisions. Some we like, some we don't, but thanks for being up there. Okay? Okay, so I'm Joe Janis. I'm a former public safety employee and a former member of the Public Safety Committee in town. I'm an independent voter, and I don't care what party any of you guys are affiliated with, but what I do care about, as most of the citizens here, is that you are good stewards of our finances and that you provide proper services to our community without bankrupting our city. We all know that OCSD is the backbone of public safety in the city, or public law enforcement. During my tenure with the Public Safety Committee, I was able to ride along with our deputies a few times. They're nothing but professional, and all they're dealing with the public, I'm a big fan. Officers in San Clemente are very busy, and we need to find out a way to lighten their load, and I think the private security proposal may just do that. We'll never know until we try, guys. The OCSD is a professional and capable organization. It has the ability to work with the private sector and together make our community a safer place to live. One thing is for sure, we won't know unless we try. Staying with the old status quo and just hiring more deputies every time crime goes up, it doesn't put a dent in decreasing crime. So I ask you guys to really think about this tonight. You have an opportunity in front of you. So thanks.
Tom Garrett.
Evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. Tom Garrett appeared at the last City Council meeting to express my support for this contract award and for the additional security services. A lot of great comments tonight, a lot of great heartfelt moments. When I was a kid here in this town 70 years ago, the chief of police was Bruce Kriego, and my parents would instill fear in me to do the right thing by saying, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, we're going to call Bruce, and he's going to take you up to the police headquarters and put you in prison. And part of what Mr. P was talking about tonight, I think really rings true, because back when I was a kid here in town, there was the officers on the beat. They knew your name. They knew if you were up to no good. They'd take you by the ear and they'd talk to you. And I think that's what Allied can bring too, along with the Sheriff's Department. There were kids out on our bluff. If you'll recall, we're at the end of La Rambla, the Boca Bluffs, the La Rambla Bluffs. And they seem like good kids, but they're throwing water balloons at everybody down on the beach path, which is like, you got to be kidding me. So this was on Father's Day in the afternoon. My wife saw enough of it, went down there, talked to these kids, and surprisingly, she got their ear for about 45 minutes. They stood out there on the bluff, they prayed together. The kids said, you know, you've brought something to our attention that maybe we haven't thought about in terms of the stupid things that we're doing. It's just another aspect of what we've all got to do as citizens in terms of maybe engaging like the lady with the Marines that day, and talking to the kids, scolding them in terms of what are you doing? Are you thinking about your actions? How disrespectful are you? But it's something that I think we've got to be proactive, but we do need the additional security. We need the additional boots on the ground, people out there so that the kids know that somebody's looking, somebody's going to call them out. And I think we've just got to take those type of steps in hopes that society turns, in hopes of the tranquility of our beautiful community coming back, and pray that it does. So again, thank you for your efforts, your dedication, your deliberation on this issue, and again, hope that you do vote in favor. Thank you.
Sarah Martin?
Good evening, everyone. This is regarding the need for private security in our community. I think you are all aware that our deputies are extremely taxed. There's a lot of hardened criminals that are getting in San Clemente. San Clemente used to be, if not the safest town, a coastal town, one of the safest towns, and that is not the case anymore. And our deputies have an extremely stressful job, and they don't need to be babysitting on the beach, and we need babysitting on the beach. So we need eyes and ears on the beach. We need our kids, and what's going on with them is different than what's going on with some of these organized crimes and some of the hardened criminals, and our deputies need to be able to send their resources there, and we need people who can just be eyes and ears as a deterrent to preventing crime, because the deputies show up after a crime's happened, and we need to prevent the crimes from happening. And that, in essence, will affect our town, the reputation of our town. The more crimes we have, the more it shows up. Anytime you look up crime statistics of San Clemente, if we just wait until things happen, guess what's going to happen? The reputation of our town is going to go down, 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 and it's going to be under your watch. So please don't do that. Please elect private security. I appreciate all of you guys and the time that you take to serve our community, and everyone else here too. And yeah, thank you for your concern. All right.
Thank you.
I don't have any additional speaker cards.
Okay, no additional speakers. We will start discussion. Anyone want to kick off the discussion?
Can I make the motion, or?
Well, first, we'll see if anyone wants to, has any follow-up questions or wants to discuss the item. Just want to make sure.
Well, wouldn't that be part of discussion and debate? Or not?
Could be.
Do it either way.
Okay, you want to start with a motion? That's
Yeah,
fine.
I'd like to move for the approval of item 10I, the contract award for security services, agendized by the council, approved by the council 4-1 vote, and move to adopt resolution 2362.
Second.
Okay, motion is Cabral, second is Leffler. City clerk, just want to make sure, yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes, we have a motion to approve the stack of recommendation for 10I.
Okay.
By Councilmember Cabral, seconded by Councilmember Leffler.
Okay.
Any discussion?
5-0.
Yeah.
I'll start us off here. I think want to start by saying that I'm in favor of the security of the Alliance Universal. I believe it will be a good temporary stopgap until we are fully staffed with our new sheriffs, until they are ready and to go, as well as until we are at the point where our park rangers are also equipped to deal with the enforcement that they need to do. I also want to say that I don't believe that security in and of itself is going to fully solve the issues that we're facing. When all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
We need to do more. We need a more comprehensive approach to the issues that we are facing. There's a lot more strategies that we can be using. My concern is that when we enact the security measures that we do, which again, I'm in favor of, that we will essentially be creating a whack-a-mole situation where we'll move them out of one area of the town into another area. And so we need, again, a more comprehensive approach to looking at the deeper issues of what's going on in our community. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you.
I'd like to speak to the motion. Let me move this a little bit forward. This has been a long process, and I'd like to thank the community for showing up for 3-4 months now in support of this proposal. It isn't, we don't know how it's going to end. I mean, we're going to try it. We think it's going to work. It's worked in a number of cities. We've met with Allied. We've talked to them. They have done this in cities all across the world, actually. And if you look at the numbers of security people they have, even just in California, it's rather significant. So they have decades of experience working with these people. They know how to treat these people. And that's the other thing that hasn't been mentioned. This is not a whack-a-mole. And I don't mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. They are, and I understand your point, I think it was a little bit different, is that we need to have all the other services. But they do offer all the services. They put you in touch with counseling. They put you in touch with food services, with our own code services people that have those kind of services. So they're not there just to harass you. They are there to help also. And I think that's an important thing. We can have Tad talk to that if we need be, but I don't think it's necessary at this point. They are there to be the eyes and ears to help assist. What we've found that if there's illegal activities, and I think this has been their experience throughout California, and I don't know if it's 100,000 people they have working, but they have a lot of them. They have significant experience on how to handle people, how to treat them respectfully, how to get them to identify their issues, and how to help them with those, but also to make sure that they're obeying the regulations and the laws. And what they've learned is that if you watch them, and if you watch the people that are doing the illegal activity, they won't smoke a joint where there's no smoking. They won't drink alcohol where there's no alcohol. They won't throw off the fireworks if there's no fireworks, because they have the camera and the equipment to record that. People know that they're being recorded and that there's a record of this. So when the police if it escalates to the point where it's getting out of control, the police will more than likely do something about it. And I'm going to move back to the Marine incident, because I think that was the turning point in this. I honestly believe that if we would have had security on the beach that evening, that never would have happened. That people, that the security would have been able to observe what was happening, and their observation of the alcohol and the youth drinking down there would have probably saved some Marines from getting in trouble, and some of our youth from getting in trouble. We don't want that. We want to be able to educate these young people, educate the youth, let them know that they're violating the law, let them know that it will get escalated if they don't stop it. And I think most of those young people would have probably left, the Marines probably would have left, and we wouldn't have had the international crisis that we had as a result of not having security on the beach. So that's why I'm in favor of it. I do also want to say that, the company has been pretty flexible on where we're going to be able to offer services. It's also going to be on Del Mar, so they will be out there also. So, they'll be able to check in the morning, the businesses, make that run up and down Del Mar, make sure if there's any homeless people sleeping, that they get moved, that they get told that they can't be on private property, and not in an aggressive way, in a humane way, because everything I've heard from this company is that they know how to do it in a humane way. You cannot be in private property, sleeping in front of someone's business. So their observation, their ability to be there, up and down the street is going to help immensely. I also wanted to say one other thing. I received a letter I wanted to read rather quickly from the Chamber of Commerce. Just got it this afternoon in support of this effort. The Chamber, as you know, is responsible or has most of the businesses in San Clemente for this. They think it's an issue. They're urging the support of this measure to help the San Clemente businesses address the security issues. Thank you.
You want to read the letter, or you just want to point out that it was there?
Let me open it up.
That's so fine. Any other comments?
I have a few. Yeah. First of all, the young lady that spoke about the human trafficking, actually, the city works in concert with the I-5 Freedom Network, which is a foundation. We've done a lot with educating the hotels in the area, so we are addressing it. We could probably do more, but we are addressing it. This is probably the only subject that you're ever going to hear me talk a lot about, so I'm sorry, Chris, no 3 minutes on this. But last time I was here, or last time we discussed it, or the first time we discussed it, I should say, a few months ago, there was a 3-minute limit because I was out there in the audience when we first talked about it. Now I'm here on council, and I feel pretty confident we're going to have a good outcome. But I want a real outcome. I'm going to talk a little bit about the strategy because I want to convince every single council member to vote for this. Fact is, I first met Tad in our meeting, and I thought he looked familiar. And it turns out we've met several times before at different events, talked about public safety. I did not know he was working for Allied Security, but we talked about public safety and how important it was. And I think Tad can tell you at that interview, I won't say I was that optimistic because I've dealt with a lot of security companies over my 38 years in law enforcement, and I'll tell you the majority of them are not that great. And so I pretty much gave him the third degree, like, what do you look like? What are you going to do? What does this mean? What are the strategies? Are we going to have an input on it? And they answered every question exactly how I had hoped. Asked about Del Mar, they said, yeah, we're going to walk a footbeat on Del Mar. That's what I did when I first started in the 1970s. I knew every business person's name on my beat. They knew me. They could talk and communicate with me. They're going to do that. Yvette from Rocket Fizz, they are going to be on Del Mar Street. They're going to be wherever we think the problems are, and whether that means North Beach, whether that means the Pier Bowl, whether that means Del Mar, or that means Maxburg Park if they have to go down there and cruise around there. They are going to do that. They're going to interact. They're going to know people's names. They've done this all over. This is nothing new for them. This is what they do, and I'm confident they'll do a good job. And the fact is, I told Tad, we are both residents here, you better do a good job because it's coming back on us if you don't. So I'm confident they will. They have a technology on their phones. They use their phones like body cams. Also, when they put in what they're doing, it tracks it. And they can go back and look at where are we spending our time? Where are the most calls for service? And it's kind of like an artificial intelligence that helps deploy them. And again, they'll always be open. If we step in and say, we're having an issue here, they will go there. When it's 10 o'clock and the beaches are about to close, they will cruise that area. They won't have to walk out and clear people off the beach. Just their presence, I guarantee you 90% of the people there will just say, oh, I guess it's time to go, and they'll go. I want to say to my fellow council, it happens all the time. When we talk about legal matters, we have 3 attorneys on this council, by the way. It's probably 3 too many, but we have them here, and they're all very competent. When we come up with legal questions, I seek your counsel. I ask your opinions, and you give it. Thank you very much. Mark, I don't know how I could strategize a curriculum to teach high school kids anything, but you do. And I appreciate that. You have that expertise. I have an expertise in public safety. That's the only thing I have an expertise in, but I have it. And I'm telling you, this will be it won't be a solution. This will be a good addition to the sheriffs. It will be. By their presence, they will allow the sheriffs to be present other places. And I know there's a concern, Chris, you think that somehow this is a bad look on the sheriffs. And I can tell you, I treasure my relationship with the chief of police here. I think we have a great rapport, and I can guarantee you that's not going to change when we put this security out here. It is not. They're going to accept it as an augmentation. They're going to do their job just like they did before and not feel bad about it. Allied just got their contract renewed. They do curbside security at John Wayne Airport. They used to do inside security, but because they're so good at it, now they do curbside security. And when they were down there getting their contract approved by the Board of Supervisors, there was an OCD officer there, a captain, somebody there, who was standing by in support because they wanted them to get their contract. This is not a problem. There is nothing negative about this. I want to see a 5-0 vote that we're answering the citizens and addressing their problems. That's all I have to say.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, there's no question that security is a huge issue in our city, particularly North Beach and the Del Mar area. This temporary fix is one that my preference is to have our sheriff's department, our park rangers, and our code enforcement do their job. They also have authority. They have uniforms, and they have feet on the ground, and they have eyes and observation. Because the two additional deputies are going to be a month or two or a while before they can be employed, I think the temporary fix is probably necessary. I'll be supporting it, but I want to make sure that this is a temporary fix and that the people that are supposed to be doing this job, our police department, we contract with the county sheriff, that the sheriff and our park rangers and our code enforcement personnel will be hopefully soon upgraded, hired at a less expensive cost, and with authority to actually act when they need to act. So I'm supportive of the motion, and I'll call for the question at the appropriate time, unless you have a comment, Mr. Mayor.
Just say I agree with you. I support our deputies. I think they're doing a great job. And if we have, my position is if we have extra funds, we should be hiring more deputies and more code compliance officers. But, a lot of credit to Allied for a great presentation here. And if anybody else has any comments, I guess we'll.
Call for the question.
Second.
Okay. We'll start down here with Councilmember Enmeyer.
I'm an aye.
Leffel?
I'm an aye.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'm a no. All right, motion passes.
Okay.
We're going to consent
Ready for
calendar.
Ready for consent? I do have two items that were pulled from the public.
Which item? Which item?
Item 7D and 7G were pulled by the public.
Madam Clerk, was that D as in David and E as in Edward?
D as in David and G as in George.
I'd like to pull L.
Maybe we have B and G right now? B, G, and L? Okay, we have D, G, and L. Any other items?
N as in Nancy.
Okay. Which one is the? So we got the Boca Bluffs. Okay, we have D, G, L, and N as in Nancy. Any others? Seeing none, does someone want to make a motion for the balance?
I'll make a motion to move the balance.
Second.
Motion is Enmeyer, second is Noblock. All in favor? Aye.
1 second.
It's unanimous.
Okay. Item 7D is ordinance 1752, second reading, modification of beach hours. Would you like me to call the speakers?
Do we have any staff report or anything? Are we, no, it's already clear?
No, this is the second reading of an ordinance that was introduced at your last meeting.
Okay, second reading, so yes, if we have any comments.
Okay. Bernice Rivera Giles, followed by Amanda Q, followed by Tom Garrett. Bernice?
Bernice. Oh, here she comes. Reminder, you have 3 minutes.
Count my walk?
No, your walk doesn't count. You're good.
Okay.
Catch your breath. Go for it.
Okay. Councilman, thank you for recognizing our appeals and seriously considering safety at our beaches. In addition to the 10 p.m. curfew, which brings us in line with each or every other beach in Orange County, I see how the interim private security can enforce the curfew. I'm not sure if I heard correctly, but I'm hoping T Street Beach is also included in the security firm monitoring our beach area, because we have fireworks going off at 2 a.m. in the morning. We have illegal fire pits, which go on, and when these people finally leave, then we hear them coming up the street, and they're loud. So we really do need support there at T Street Beach. Getting off my notes. I was picking my son's brain. He's a Huntington Beach police officer. I was asking him, how do you get people to respect the curfew? And he said, well, we've got a different situation than you guys do. We, for minors, if they're in the bar area, they usually have police officers that are assigned to that area. If the minors are acting up, and it's after, I guess, 10 p.m., they will actually take those minors to the police station, call their parents, come pick them up. It inconveniences the parents, it inconveniences the kids, and it's a short little ride to their substation, mile or two. I don't think we have that situation here, but that was one way that they manage minors. Also, like for the beach, they have staff at night who start at 10 o'clock. They let people know, hey, we're closing the beach, you need to start going. They start leaving, but they also have a beach comber, which is a big machine that turns up the sand. So they've got staff that say, we got to clear the beach. Here comes this beach comber thing. You got to leave. So there's ways that they manage it. They also can manage their parking a little bit different from us because they have beach parking. So if you don't leave, you get a ticket. So maybe we need to see how other cities manage their curfews. I look at the curfew and the security firm as an experiment. As you know, experiments don't fail. They are opportunities to learn and we have a solid hypothesis that this additional security firm plus the curfew will help us to understand what needs to be adjusted. And I feel like an experiment can't fail. We can only learn from it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it.
Amanda Q, followed by Tom Garrett.
Just a very brief comment. As a San Clemente resident of over 50 years, I support the modification of beach hours to close the public beaches at 10 p.m. for the safety and welfare of the public. The 10 p.m. closure is in alignment with other cities up and down California, so it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's just making it standard, and I really appreciate that. And this is, again, for the public and safety of everyone, the residents, beach, business owners, and people that are visiting our wonderful town. And thank you so much. I hope everybody votes for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Final speaker is Tom Garrett.
Thank you. Again, just to support the beach closure at an earlier time, hopefully just making the announcement, posting the hours, is going to be respected by the majority of people. And for those that disrespect it, yeah, we'll just have to play it by ear and see what we can do. But thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks for your email as well. Any other comments?
No additional comments.
For this,
I'll move the staff recommendation.
and it's an ordinance, so it has to be read, correct, City Attorney? Or is it second, we don't need to?
Would you like to read that, Madam Clerk?
I will read it. Adopt ordinance number 1752 entitled an ordinance of the City Council of the City of San Clemente declaring a public nuisance, amending section 12.32.140 of the San Clemente Municipal Code to close the public beaches at 10 o'clock p.m. for public health, safety, and welfare, and finding the ordinance to be categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, under Class 1 existing facilities, 14 CCR, Section 15301 of the state CEQA guidelines.
So moved.
Okay, motion is Noblock, second is Cabral. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Next item was also pulled by the public. It's the contract award for California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA review services in connection with the Bluffs at Boca project.
Yes.
And would you like me to call the speaker, or would you like?
Do we have a staff presentation? Sure. Adam, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Adam Atamian, Deputy Community Development Director. I'm joined tonight by Chris Johnson, one of our senior planners in the Planning Division. He'll give a quick synopsis of the item in front of you, and then both of us would be available for any questions afterwards.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Chris Johnson, Senior Planner, as it was noted. The project before us today, or the item for consideration, is approval of a professional services agreement to contract with an environmental consulting firm to conduct a review of an environmental impact report for the noted project. The item will have components. The project itself will have components which will be reviewed and evaluated at a later date by City Council. Tonight's action would just be to approve the professional service agreement so the city can retain its own environmental professional to evaluate the technical studies on behalf of the city for the project. Thank you.
Any questions of staff? I think there may be, if I'm not mistaken.
A couple questions here. Can you explain to me a little bit more deeply the relationship between was it Kimley Horn and Associates and the city, and how that partnership is going to be working?
Sure. So the city, as part of this process, has an on-call project listing with consultants that we maintain in-house. As part of this project, we interviewed 7 consulting firms and actually went out to Planet Bid. But before even that, let me just note that the project, as it stands right now, has its own environmental consultant acting on behalf of the applicant. And so they are in the process of preparing an environmental impact report, which oftentimes is done and is allowed per CEQA requirements and guidelines. So staff has undertaken an interview process and evaluating different professional firms to take on to support us in the environmental review. As part of that process, we selected Kimley Horn.
And then is there a relationship between the private company and Kimberly Horn in doing this environmental study?
I'm sorry, one more time.
So the private entity that wants to develop this land, do they have a relationship at all, a previous relationship that would cause any hesitancy in this between?
No, there's no conflict of interest. There's a separate firm that's preparing the EIR at present for the applicant. We are going to be retaining our own environmental consultant, which has no previous history, has been working with the applicant in any capacity.
So once this is done, our city staff reviews it completely, or we are doing our own separate environmental study?
The consultant, if approved by this professional services agreement, will conduct a review of all technical studies, the entire draft and final EIR, as well as alternatives analysis and everything that's composed within the document itself. Staff will be there to also evaluate and shepherd the process. So the EIR would be a lead agency document. It's our document for approval, but we, from time to time, go out to contract with services of specialties, special environmental consulting firms to support on those technical studies, which is in this case, the area of expertise is outside what the city currently has to review, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just for clarification, so the city is the lead agency.
Yes.
With responsibility. But we didn't go out and find the entity that's doing this report. This was found by somebody else, subcontracted through somebody else.
That is correct. The applicant has elected to hire their own environmental consultant. That environmental consultant is also on the city's on-call list. And I believe that one of the factors that the applicant used in their decision on who to hire was the fact that their consultant is also on the city's on-call list of environmental consultants.
I've received information that this isn't the standard way that it's done. Usually the city just goes out and does it. There's not that middleman. Do you have any experience with that?
There are a couple options in how this can be processed. The process that the applicant is undertaking is not uncommon. The city receives a lot of technical studies that we have reviewed with the assistance of outside consultants that are working directly for the city on our behalf. In this particular case, there were a number of technical studies that were presented as part of the application initially, and I think that based on that work, the applicant would prefer to continue with their environmental consultant through that process. However, as you noted, the city is the lead agency, and ultimately this is a document that the city needs to support. So our consultant's review is going to be doing essentially the final review, and they are going to review everything for accuracy, completeness, and to ensure that the analysis is supported by facts.
Yeah. Thank you.
Councilmember Cabral.
Yeah, it's a piece of land that at first blush, and I don't want to make a judgment about it. It doesn't look like it's developable, but I'll leave this to the experts. I won't make any kind of judgment. But I have a question for our city manager, because we've had a discussion about this and the manner in which it was brought up. And I think, I'm not sure that we're getting the same message about how the independence of the study and the selection process, how it normally works and how it worked in this. It seemed like it was an anomaly in this case as opposed to the standard practice.
Yeah, I think normally, if you were to take a percentage basis, I think that there's a higher percentage where the city goes out and hires the environmental company to do the analysis for us. I know that there was some communication with this particular applicant with our previous legal counsel, and they had worked through the best way to process this application, and I know that that was part of the decision-making in this case. So, yeah, I think it's fair to say that on a typical basis, we would normally hire our own environmental consultant. And it may have been the same consultant, because as was mentioned, this same consultant is on our list of consultants to do the environmental work. But if they're going to use a different consultant than us being in the driver's seat, I think it's really, really important that we do approve this peer review and make sure that we have our consultant looking over all the work, making sure that it was done correctly. By the way, this is not in any way to cast any kind of shadow on the work that's going to be done by the environmental consultant. These guys take their work very seriously, very professional. They have licenses. They do a very good job. I still think, though, it's very important that we hire our own people to do a peer review, which is what staff's recommending tonight, to make sure that this work has been done correctly.
And this will be at the expense of the applicant still, right?
That is correct.
No, that's what I wanted to make sure. Yeah.
I guess my question is, my experience has been that the developer can select their own environmental consultant to prepare an EIR, and the city staff generally reviews it on their own, as opposed to the city hiring someone to review the report. In this case, what would it take our city in terms of staff quality, staff training, staff ability to do that internal internal review, as opposed to hiring someone to do the review?
Yeah, especially given the geographic location of this particular development, this probably exceeds the particular skill set than anyone that we have on our staff. We don't have an environmental engineer that would be doing this work for us. And again, that's why we have these consultants on call, that when we face these rather sensitive environmental issues, we've got the expertise to make sure that it gets done correctly. We've had enough experience, as we know, with coastal issues that we want to make sure we're doing it right. But I think we're all tired of dealing with some of the
Given
coastal challenges.
significant geotechnical issues that are involved in this particular.
That's correct, exactly right.
Thank you.
Yes.
One other thing, I know this piece of property, I mean, if you look at it at first blush, it doesn't look like it's developable. Again, I don't know that, but I know that the city also owns an easement or a right-of-way for a road